and welcome to Cupertino Insight. I'm Dorothy Cornelius, your host for the program. Tonight we have a variety of topics to cover. We'll go out to Seven Springs Ranch and meet Dorothy Liddon, and we're going to get lots of information about summer programs available in Cupertino, both through the Parks and Recreation Department and Cupertino Library, which offers a unique way to have many adventures during the summer without leaving your home.
Summer means school's out. Most students look forward to spending their summer doing nothing. But Cupertino librarian Julie Dalrymple and her friend Murgle have been visiting schools encouraging Cupertino students to join the Summer Reading Club.
How many of you think that you could read 10 books this summer? Oh, that's terrific.
The Summer Reading Club starts the last day for the public schools in Cupertino, which is June 15th. Children may sign up that day or any time after that, clear up until August 10th. Before they sign up, they need to read one book, and then we make a folder for them. They fill out the information like their name and phone number and so on, and write down the book that they've read. And then whenever they come into the library and they've read more books, they come over and write the names of those books down. And if they read 10 books, they get a certificate that we give them, and then a paperback book that actually the Friends of the Cupertino Library buy a whole selection for them. If the children don't practice reading during the summer, it's like anything else. They lose their skills. Somebody once quoted a statistic to me that said if they read at least 6 books, probably meaning books at their grade level, that they would keep their skills up and otherwise they would decline. And so we're trying to get them to do that. The programs are partly to bring them into the library in the hopes that they will read, and also in a lot of cases to share community resources like the Youth Science Institute and the Special Olympics and the Oakland Days. The puppet shows often tie into literature, so we enjoy doing it also. We like to see a lot of kids in the library using the books. We want them to enjoy it. Summer's a good time for them to get to read the things that maybe they don't get around to during the school year when they have homework and they have assignments that they have to do and certain kinds of things that they have to read for book reports. This is for them to choose, and hope they enjoy it. The program here in Cupertino is very successful. One year there were 1,000 members. We haven't had quite that many, but I think it's because the kids have moved up and they kind of tend to move out of it when they reach the end of elementary school, if not before. Last summer we had well over 500, and we had a real good percentage who finished. Almost 3/4 of the kids did read 10 books, which is really good.
I hope I will see all of you at the library this summer. How many of you think you might come to the library this summer? Oh, that's good. I'll see you at all the programs and all the movies, and I'll hope you'll read lots and lots of books this summer.
Another way to keep the kids busy this summer is through some of the wonderful programs offered by the city's Parks and Recreation Department. Here with me today are Carol Skurich and Tracy Elliott, both program leaders for Parks and Rec, and they'd like to tell you a little bit about some of those programs. First of all, Tracy, what are the goals of the summer program?
I think we could best sum up the goals for the summer program in a few words. We try to have a diverse program that covers as many needs and interests as possible, as well as keeping them within a certain cost range to meet economic needs of people, and all age levels.
Tracy, are the programs available to people who don't necessarily live in Cupertino?
Yes, they are, but we do have our registration procedure, which Carol will go into later, that allows for Cupertino residents to have first access to most of our programs.
Right. Could both of you describe those programs a little bit and let us know what will be available?
First of all, I think I'll start off with our basic program, probably one that's been with us for the longest amount of time. It's a playground program, and we have 4 locations this summer: Portal Park, Jollyman School, Garden Gate School, and Monte Vista Recreation Center. And these are free programs open to ages 7 to 12, and they're from 1 to 5 in the afternoon. And our playground leaders plan a diverse program. It includes music, arts and crafts, special events, and excursions. Along with that, we have areas that I'm responsible for would include Tiny Tots, which is a morning program. I also have teen programs and we have a package of several excursion weeks, which would include Adventure Sports Week, river floating, camping, and Manteca water slides, Yosemite bike trip, Bike and Water Week, Pack Rats, Excursion Week, and Mountaineering river rafting experience. Also, for the younger groups, we have Sports Camp, and I also have a program for teens and young adults that are developmentally delayed, and that meets once a week, every Wednesday evening. That's about it.
Oh. Carol, would you like to add to that?
Sure. Lots of other programs that we do offer that I'm directly in charge of are our adult specialist classes, and then we have a wide range of classes varying from aerobic classes, stretch classes, toning classes, to classes for color, talking about your color and developing the different colors for yourself, to calligraphy, and just a wide range for adults, and then also for use. We have gymnastics classes, soccer classes, dance classes, just a wide variety. I could go on and on about those. One special program that this will be our second year that we've had is our movie program, and we call it Friday Afternoon at the Movies, and it's co-sponsored with the Oaks Theater. And Friday afternoon, children can go to the Oaks Theater and see a different film every week, and it goes for 8 weeks. And it's a different program in that it's old classics. We have National Velvet, Charlotte's Web, some of the old classics that the children can't and haven't had the opportunity possibly to normally see. Our aquatics program is a program that's been with us for about 5 years, and it's one that that takes quite a bit of time because we do get a lot of children in that program. It's offered at Monte Vista and Cupertino High School pools, and we have lessons for children down to really literally 2-year-olds all the way up until intermediate swimmer children. And then there's recreational swim in the afternoons from 2:30 to 4. And that does begin on June 18th, which is very, very soon. We also have a nature camp program which meets every 2 weeks, and you can come in the morning or in the afternoons with a wide variety of things, just like Tracy talked about, music and arts and crafts. We have a soccer clinic this year that's new that we're very excited about, and also a special trip that we really like to highlight, along with many of the other family activities that we do offer in Cupertino, is Cupertino Day at the Giants, and that's what we hope all families will come out and watch the Giants play and have a really enjoyable day, and hopefully watching the Giants win.
I know.
And I think that's June
29th.
29th.
Right.
And we're all excited about and hope that we can get lots of Cupertino residents out there to watch Mayor Plungy throw the ball out and have a good time.
Sounds great. I understand there's also that's fireworks night too at Candlestick Park.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So that sounds like a good deal. See the Giants win, and they'll shoot off the fireworks or something like that. Sounds like a lot of programs to manage. How do you handle it?
Well, right now I think Tracy and I both are going crazy, just as everybody does at a time when you're real busy. But I think we both really enjoy our jobs, and it's very exciting to work with young. We have just a great staff and a young, enthusiastic staff, and I think when we start to get down and feel like we're going crazy, we look at our staff who is so excited and ready to go, and I think that that's what kind of keeps us going. And also when we think about letting down some of the kids because we didn't get our act together, I think that's when we start thinking, well, we got to get
Keeps
with
you
it
going.
and keep going.
Yeah. Well, this is very appropriate because I know that this month happens to be National Parks and Recreation Month. So it's very good to have you here. If somebody were interested in signing up for a program, how would they register?
Okay. We've been taking registration for about a month and a half now. In past years, we started registration the beginning of May, and beginning of June, we are starting at the beginning of May because we know families trying to get their schedule for the summer squared away. But we still are taking registration. Many of our programs are filled, but many of them are still open, especially too about the playground program. That is never filled. So if you would like more information on how to register, you can call the Parks and Recreation Office, which the number is 253-2060 or 252-4505. Or else, if you'd like to just come right down to the Parks and Recreation Department, which is located at McClellan Ranch Park on McClellan Road, and our office hours are 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. We'd be happy to talk to you about our programs and tell you a little bit about what we have to offer.
Oh, well, I know you both worked very long and hard on these programs, so I wish you both lots of luck for this summer.
Thank you.
And I want to thank both of you for being here. It's been really delightful. I know that Cupertino Insight does plan to visit some of the programs that you have in store during the summer, so all of you viewers will get the opportunity to see more of this. Okay. We've all heard of Seven Springs Ranch. It's been in the papers a lot, I'd say over the last couple of years. But I'm sure that most of you have never met Dorothy Liddon, the owner of that property, and we hadn't either. Till recently, we took the cameras out there to speak with Dorothy and visit her at her ranch.
Seven Springs Ranch is one of the few remaining orchards in the valley. Over 100 acres of apricot, plum, and other fruit trees grow here amidst an urban area. This serene location has been in Dorothy Liddon's family for nearly 50 years.
My father was born in a little town in Kansas, Hope, Kansas. 5 children brought up by their mother. His mother died, or the father died when he was born, so they grew up in this little farm town in Kansas, and he went to the big city of Kansas City to make his fortune, and when he finally made his fortune at about 50, he wanted a farm. But because of the heat, which those days there wasn't even air conditioning, why he looked in California. And there were 3 places suggested, and he chose this one. That was in 1936. The people who owned it raised hackney ponies, and it had a reversal financially, and they hadn't been able to keep up the orchards, and it was an interesting old place. There were about 13 or 14 outbuildings. Milk house, chicken house, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and a lovely old bungalow, but it turned out that wasn't feasible to live in, so then they tore that down and built the main house. And then they had to deal with the water system, which it was called Seven Springs because there were originally 7 springs, but they had been allowed to deteriorate, and so he hired the same engineer who did Stevens Creek Dam to engineer the water system in the South Canyon and one spring in the North Canyon, and brought it down and into the same place, the storage place that had gone through the 1906 earthquake. We had a great deal of fun getting the orchards back in shape, replanting trees, planting the whole place, getting the water system going, sending fresh apricots to his friends in Chicago and New York, and too much traffic, my mother complained, so, all right, he built a big packing shed and moved the dry yard away from the house, and no, he was very seldom here. He most of the time stayed in Kansas City to run a business. I was brought up in Kansas City. I brought up my family in Kansas City. We only came out in the summers. There were all blossoms, all trees. Stelling Road was a lovely. We would turn off 101 on the rare occasions we went to San Francisco. We turned off 101 at Sunnyvale and came across, and then even then, here we were in the dark going along all through orchards. It was like once we were off the terrible freeway 101, which was nothing in those days. And of course, everybody knows what Stelling is like now. But then it was all orchards, no lights, no stop signs. It used to be fun. The itinerant labor, Mexicans, the whole families came and stayed in the summer. And at the time when they were intense everywhere else, my father built these really quite adorable cabins with all the laundry facilities and so forth and cooking facilities. So they would come and stay for the harvest. And my children, they were all friends, and the children all worked or stood around their mother when they were cutting apricots in the dry yard. and it was laughing, happy, and would invite my children down for tacos or for breakfast, whatever. They said it's the best food they ever had. And well, then as there were fewer and fewer places for them to go, they ceased coming. And the laws required that if you have any kind of heavy machinery, there can be no children in the shed. So that meant there were these mothers with all these children, and they can't handle that too well. So you hire local help, which think they want to cut apricots, but it's, and a couple of hours of that is, we do it for ourselves now, but that's not. So the help problem, and there were 100 cutting in that shed. And the most we did one year was we had 200 tons of fresh fruit that we dried, which is a lot of apricots.
Dorothy has decided to sell approximately 100 acres to Interland Development Company, who will build 408 residential units on the orchard land. This was a hard decision for Dorothy to make and was based largely on advice given to her by her father years ago.
One thing he told me, which I just told Charlie Olson, and he said he hasn't forgotten that, if it ever gets to be a burden, let it go. Don't. A friend whose advice I value and who cared about the children and me said, I think you better think about selling some of that. I said, never, never, never. And so we thought about it for about a year, and at Christmas, when the children and I were together, we decided, well, he's probably right. We think it's special. As much as they need parkland, I don't think I'd like it, the whole thing in a park. I'd rather give to the community in other ways. So we began to think about who would help us plan something special. And at first I thought, well, I think that older people need a place between retirement homes and hospitals, kind of, that there must be a sort of a facility that would be a halfway sort of place. And when we looked into that, we discovered that there was no way a private citizen could do that. You'd have to be a nonprofit organization such as a church or something. So then we thought, what else could we do? Since we're convinced this is such special land.
Dorothy spent 5 years working to develop an alternative community, the result being a number of conditions and requirements which will hopefully make it a unique living experience.
Recycling center, narrow streets, all solar, both passive and active, community gardens, community greenhouse, a separate community center for older people who I think have the right to peace and quiet if they want it. Facilities for choice, I guess. If you choose to live together, great. If you choose not to, that's privacy, a lot of open space. It was called an enclave once, and the idea that it's just the opposite of an enclave. It's a chance for interaction. And the developer, I really, I'm quite convinced that he was interested in the project because it was different. It had possibilities, kind of a pilot thing. He'd already shown he could build nice things and make money, so I have complete faith that he'll follow the plan. It is a special place. To me, it's an oasis. The minute you turn in, it becomes an oasis, or a peaceful, harmonious.
Mrs. Liddon is keeping some 40 acres of the property and will remain living on that site even after the development is complete. Tonight we're going to do something very special and take a look at some of the volunteers who work behind the cameras to present this show to you. First, we have Fred Chan, who is a camera operator, and Brian Taylor, the floor director. How does it feel to be on this side of the cameras for a change?
Very different. It's a lot brighter on this side of the stage.
This is getting even time, sort of, I guess. First of all, why don't you explain exactly what a floor director does?
Well, sure. I am very fond of being a floor manager because it involves a lot of interaction with the guests. And mainly, my job is to cue you when it's time to begin speaking and when it's time to end the program, and also to keep you informed about which camera is actually filming, because we have several cameras in the studio.
You didn't say how your job is also to make me laugh up here.
Oh, that's
when you
true.
look too serious.
I can see why I chuckle more when I'm in the shadows, actually.
Oh, good. Fred, how did you get involved in operating a camera, especially as a volunteer?
Well, I have been into still photography for a number of years, probably more years than I care to remember. And I look upon television as an extension of still photography. And I was taking a course in De Anza, mainly to learn about video. And I found out about Cupertino Insight, and I thought I would want to help out a little bit.
Oh, how nice. That's great. Very good. Do either of you intend to go on professionally in television? Have you thought about it?
Well, I would love to, really. I think, I do enjoy working with people, and I think a lot of the floor manager's job is to keep the guests and the hostess, like you, informed and relaxed, too. I sort of enjoy keeping that link between the director, who's in the control booth, and the guests.
Right, now 2 more of our volunteers. Paul LeDuc, who also operates camera, and Donnie McNevin, our audio person. How does it feel to be on this side of the camera to you?
Personally, I prefer to stay on the other side of the camera. I'm more of a technical person than I am an actor.
How'd you get involved in audio?
Well, I was a sound man for several years, doing concert sound for bands. And watching some videotapes of concert footage, I noticed that the audio portion was very poor compared to the video portion. And several people that I knew in the industry convinced me that television needed some better sound man. So eventually I came down here to De Anza College and got into their video program and now work on several different programs.
That's great. And you, Paul, how did you get involved here with Insight?
Well, I got interested in video. A hobby of mine is skydiving, and I started doing free fall photography with video.
Oh, you're kidding.
Got interested in video and thought I would learn how to use some of the more professional studio video equipment, and took a class here at De Anza, and I've been volunteering my time ever since.
You still skydive?
Oh yeah, every weekend.
Oh, all right. Do you plan to combine professionally those two?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing a little more of a professional version of a skydive movie, which there's not many of yet, and also maybe do some other things with video in the form of documentaries or rock videos or something with the video medium.
We just completed a documentary on De Anza Day in which I had Paul as my cameraman.
Now I'd like you to meet Jerry Stern, who operates the character generator for this program. Jerry, would you please explain what a character generator is?
A character generator is basically an electronic keyboard similar to an electric typewriter or a computer keyboard, which types the lettering that you see in the lower third of the television screen, people's names, that kind of thing.
How did you get involved with character generating?
Well, it's one of the aspects of television production, which was covered in television production 1 class that I'm taking.
All right. I assume you don't want to make a career out of operating a character generator. What do you have in mind?
Well, actually, any aspect of television or film production would be all right with me, whether it's a character generator, camera operation, direction, production, anything.
All right, that leaves it wide open then.
That's right. I'm open to suggestions.
Right. David Massey is also here with me now. David is not a volunteer, but he is the videographer for Cupertino Insight. Hi, David.
Hi.
It's unusual for you to be on this side of the camera.
That's right. Usually on the other side.
Right. What does a videographer do?
Well, a videographer is in charge of the visual aspect of a program, the lighting and the camera work, and going out on location. When we go out on location, I set up the camera and load the videotape, get everything ready, and tape it.
That may sound so simple, and I know you spend so much time and it's so difficult.
Especially on the long hikes for the Parks and Rec department.
The 4 miles into the
Yeah.
hills, lugging the equipment and
That's
that
right.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right. Basically, you've just had a chance to meet some of the people it takes to put this show together. I want to thank all of them for their time and efforts so that you have the opportunity to see this. That's it for tonight's show. Please tune in again next week when we'll have Dorothy Varian, Cupertino's very own author, and we'll also talk about the 4th of July celebration scheduled for Memorial Park. Thanks for watching. Good night.